So we can say that love is always truthful. Fear could be a lie.
Yeah.
And yes, that's an amazing thing. Okay, what else? What else is the difference between fear and love? Here, what else can be the difference?
Fear ends in resentment in the individual losing his well-being, losing his joy of being who he is. Even his achievements are not
Enjoyed.
making him proud.
Yeah.
And fear makes you all the time feel what if.
Okay.
And that is the enemy of peace in your heart.
Okay. Okay. So fear makes you always question, and the question is what if. So fear puts you in the unknown, and sometimes unknown could always be assuming the worst, and fear can put you in what we call, based on what you said, the distorted thinking pattern, the negative thinking pattern. Although love can actually put you in a healthy, secure pattern, because fear, as you said, and that's amazing actually, make you always try to achieve just to please, but you're always afraid to fall short. And sometimes fear can build what we call perfectionists, and perfectionists will always feel that they are imperfect, so they will never enjoy any achievement. That's what you're saying. That's amazing. That's amazing. What else? إيه رأيك? What's the difference between fear and love, whether in raising children or in general?
Fear showing respect. Need something.
Okay, unconditional, right? So that's a beautiful actually. So fear will be conditional, but love is unconditional. You need something, that's why you are afraid, or you want to perform something, you are afraid to make the other person disappointed. In that case would be parents, or you are doing things based on fear because you don't want to also lose something. So fear has a condition. Love is a unconditional. That's a beautiful point. Type. Go ahead.
Fear is a very tiring feeling.
That's it. Draining.
And eventually you will feel like I want to run away from where I am. This is tiring. I'm tired of it.
100%.
Where love makes you enjoy, grow, prosper, and feel safe where you are.
Yes.
So it's just this feeling of being tired of.
Drained.
It's eventually it eats mental health, physical health, makes you unable to see your achievements. You're always smaller than what you are in your own life.
100%. That's why I have a comparison in front of me here about the difference between raising children in love or raising them in fear. When I say children, in that case, it's us when God raised us, or us when the church nourishes us, or us what we do with our children. So either we are being raised or we are raising others. So when it comes to love, love is always building a relationship. Love connects a healthy bond between you and whoever you are raising. Whereas fear will always demand obedience, and sometimes it could be enforced obedience. You need to follow me, so it has a sense of threatening. That unless you follow me, you will not benefit from me. You feel like you are controlling something, and having that as a condition, you demand being obeyed just because you have a certain sense of control. Love teaches responsibility. Fear surpasses the voice and enforces compliance. Love encourages expression. Love produces security. Fear produces anxiety. It's beautiful that we know the difference. You see, I think I was thinking yesterday about the inner voice of the person or the child who is raised in love and the one who is raised in fear. A child raised in fear will learn, I must obey to be accepted. Another one who is raised in love would learn, I am loved, so I want to do what is right. I want to do what is right because I'm loved. The other one, no, I want to be compliant. I want to be accepted. That's the raising of fear. When it comes to the idea of a parent toward their own children, sometimes we feel like we own our children, or sometimes we feel that our children are extension of us. And that's, even if you want to take it positively, it has to be taken with a grain of salt. One of the greatest mistakes that parents do is they build the relationship and the views and the raising up of their children on one idea: is my child is an extension of me, and if my child fails, I failed. If my child succeeds, I succeed. And obviously there is a consequence and there is a return, a reward, but my child must become what I failed to be is a huge problem. That's the biggest problem, because my child need to be what they need to be, what they want to be, what they desire to be. I had a dream to be a doctor, my child must become a doctor because I did not, is a wrong thing. I had a dream to be a priest, so my child must be a priest because I was not, is a wrong thing. My child needs to be whatever he wants to be. Whether it lines up with my failure or my success, it's okay, because my child is not another trial, a second chance of my life. That's a huge problem. The problem is, if I have that in my mind that my child is my second opportunity, my second attempt, I will never raise him in love, because I will try to dictate and avoid all the problems that can somehow put him aside from my goal. And it is not my goal that should be important here. It is my child. I have a goal in raising them, but the problem is I need to build my children not to relive my legacy. I think we can all relate to that. The child, although sometimes it can take a positive perspective, but my child is not a project I have. My child is not an extension. My child is not an emotional support system for me. Obviously, what I'm saying here is there is a responsibility for me in raising my children, and I must take that seriously. But they are not a project. There is an emotional bond between me and my child, and sometimes they have positive influence on me when I talk to them, but they are not my emotional regulation and emotional support system. I get some positive emotion from them, but they are not my punching bag. That's the point, right? I need to understand that, and sometimes we need to learn that the children are something else. Maybe now I want to ask you in one word or two. My child is not my project, is not an extension of my life, is not a second chance of missed opportunity, is not a punching bag, is not an emotional support. So what is my child? Can somebody give me a word or two? Go ahead.
To me, she is the daughter of the Lord that dwells in my house, and the Lord gave me the opportunity to support this daughter that belongs to Him.
That's it.
And I'm just there to support.
That's it. That's a beautiful thing. Every time I baptize a kid, I tell his parents that. I tell them, up until this moment, you were the parents. Today, this child has another father, God, and this child now belongs to him, but God is going to give you the child as a gift. You are entrusted with the child. So that's a beautiful point. What else? Children are a gift from God. We need to take care of them for their own Father, our Father who art in heaven. So they are an entrusted gift. What else? 18.
Child is a part of the family.
Yes, a member in the family.
And whether we like it or not, families are not like a project or a diagram on screen. We say, you go this, you go that, this happens, this does not happen. It is a dynamic, every moment change in feelings, resources, happiness, sadness, events from the inside, from the outside. And the child gets to be influenced and gets to be affected by what the family is going through.
100%.
Lots of the family dynamics can be controlled within our ability. Other factors are not within our ability. So we need to accept the fact that I cannot continue, I cannot all the time put my child in a bubble that's super protected, because that child is part of the family, and the family is going through grief, going through happiness, going through illness, going through pleasure time. And I need to accept that the child will feel some pain as much as we feel pain sometimes.
That's beautiful, and that's important actually. So basically, my child or my children, they are a dynamic member in the family. Dynamic means movable contributor. Yes, they are influenced by the parents and by everybody around, but they are a unique soul with a particular calling and an important destiny. While they live with us in this family, they are contributor to the family. They have a calling to participate in the family affair, but they also have a different, unique calling for their own. And being an influential member as a father, I need to understand that I need to influence but not manipulate. And that's important. It has to be done in wisdom. I need to draw the line. What is being delivered to the kids need to be delivered to them with no manipulation, in certain ways, to unleash their potential, to live up to their calling, to empower them to become who they need to be independently, and to raise them somehow to be mature in certain aspects up until they become fully mature, to also take a role of raising other children of their own. So we need to mind shift a little bit between children ownership or children stewardship. Stewardship is different than ownership. You see, when we raise our children in fear, obviously we'll always threaten, always attack, always control, always manipulate. We'll always make sure that they do what we want, what makes us happy, not what makes God happy or them happy. And sometimes we are afraid that our children somehow will not embrace us, or sometimes we can live the attitude of I said so. Sometimes we can do, if you don't do what I say, I will. And all of that creates a hidden rebellion, a double lives, an emotional distance, and the child, if they obey, will obey out of fear. So let us today cast out the fear. And we need to understand that love does not envy, but love casts out all fear. Love doesn't mean no discipline, doesn't mean no structure, doesn't mean no guidance, doesn't mean no correction. No, love means all of that. But when we do that, we discipline without rejection. We correct without shaming. We have authority without fear. Sometimes we ask our children, why did you do this and that? Why didn't you do this and that? Where all we need to do is we ask them to explain to us where they're coming from so that we can understand. Love trusts, right? So going back to the dynamics, we need to know that when we build our homes, we need to build it on emotional safety and security. And the foundation of that is always God. A healthy home is not a perfect home. Perfect here means our own understanding of perfections. But a healthy home is a safe home, where children feel heard, where children feel seen, where children feel accepted, where children feel forgiven. So maybe you can ask yourself that question: will our home be a place of refuge for our children or a place of fear? Will our children run to us or run from us? You see, fear will make them run away. Love will make them run closer. In many cases, we talked about how disciplining can be an important tool to raise a secure child without breaking their confidence. So the role of discipline is to form, not to force. Form an independent person, somebody who respects the laws and the canon and the regulations, somebody who knows that he needs to contribute. That's forming of a personality. A forcing of a personality will slip from our finger. Discipline comes from the word disciple, and disciple means to teach, to make a disciple for you, not to punish. Healthy discipline explain always why, build conscience, respect dignity, and unhealthy discipline control behavior, ignore the heart, and damages the identity. I want to ask you for some practical tool. How can we, whether we are parents or individuals or couple, how can we build discipline that form but not force or forge or control? How can we do that? I want you to tell me in your relationship with your child, whether you have or will have, how can you parent them in that sense of forming, not forcing? What do you think? I need some practical ideas. ايه بقى؟
Listen to them.
Listen to them. Sometimes children will complain and talk and address point, and maybe they don't like what we do, or maybe they have a different idea. But sometimes we don't listen, and don't listen because we have an agenda in our mind, even though this agenda could be the best agenda. But not listening to them will not form them. I remember a while back ago when Stephanie was still living with us, we could argue a little bit. She might have an idea, and I might know that her idea is right or wrong. That's okay. So I always tell her, okay, Habibti, why don't we go to Google and search it together and think about it together? Sometimes, if somebody sees me doing that, people say, you already know the answer. Why don't you just give it away? Why do you need to go to Google and search? And I say, you know what? I want to form her personality, that I can be wrong, and there is a bit of reference we can go to. It is much better to form somebody who searches for the truth than to force your views on somebody, even if your views are the truth. Right? Listening is very important. Ethan, what do you think else? Ethan, what? Go ahead.
It's a very difficult question because truly, your behavior, how you conduct yourself, is supposed to be the way you are setting the rules in your own environment.
Yes.
And if you don't want them to lie, please don't lie. If you don't want them to ignore their work, please don't ignore your work. If you want them to not to show off when they have more, please don't do so. But the difficulty I have is, in this current world, the child is exposed to far more than me and my wife. I leave the house at 7 o'clock in the morning, come back at 5 p.m. My child leaves the house at the same time, come back a bit earlier. For these 8 or 9 hours, they are influenced by a barrage of information, of ideas about parents, families, and I'm not sure that everything that is being fed into the kids in these massive amount of time where they are in education comes home with the correct idea about parents. I have been through situations where an assumption was made that I should be judging my kid. I think I'm not judging you. But people around have placed the seed that, hey, your parents will be judging you for that. So I think, but you have your parents. You know them. What do you hear? Why do you learn about your parents from the outside? Why do you learn about your parents from school teacher? Why do you learn about your parents from what do you learn about your church from a course in religions that tells you that all religions are X, Y, Z? So the difficulty I'm having with this is how much relationship is there between me and my child, and how this relationship is being distorted by the massive pressure coming to the kids to be different from our home because they are living in different societies.
That's a beautiful point. I will just summarize what you said in my own words, and I want to make sure that I paraphrase exactly what you said. Number one, we have to understand that we are not the only contributor in raising our children. At certain point, but me, that was like 8-9 years ago, we had a talk in the family meeting. We were talking about influence, and I wanted to scare the people a little bit, and I brought to them stakeholders in raising our children: parents, church, school, society, friends, social media, and all of that. And I assigned like a hypothetical values based on certain research. And I ended up calculating how much parents have influence over their children in our era. And it was like 17%. 17%. And sometimes, if that dynamic is already ruined, that 17% doesn't exist. So in a normal case, we assume that it's 100%. But in real life, in our era, 17% is how much influence you have. So sometimes there might be a stronger influencer in your kid's life than you are. And sometimes that source of influence could even attack the, not just the credibility, but the purity of parenthood, making people feel like, or making children in that case feel that they don't even trust their parents based on the other influence. So that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
100%. So what can I learn from that? I can learn that, number one, I'm not the only player. So number two, I need to make sure that the dynamic between me and my child is always secure and pure. And we did a lecture in family meeting about something called the trained and exercised senses, الحواس المدربة. How can I sense that my child, in his attitude, in his responses, in his behavior, or her for sure, might be distancing themselves from us? And I can sense it early on, and I can work around it so that I can fix the relationship and heal the broken bond and all of that. That's like an important point. That's a talk by itself. Go ahead. I saw حاجة.
That doesn't start all of a sudden.
No.
Later on, it has to start since
Build up.
day one.
Yes.
You build the relationship with your child since day one.
Yeah.
Even you talk to them. When they are babies, they don't know anything, but they learn from you, from the communication you have with them. Then when they grow up, like set aside 10 minutes a day for just communication.
Yeah. Well, actually, building early on, there is one seed I always advise parents to build on, the seed of trust. And I taught, for example, I taught my kids that they will experience so many things outside, but there is a seed that I wanted to plant, which is the seed of discernment, how to discern this is right or wrong. And the seed of trust, if they are confused about something, there must be a certain level of trust that they come back to me without being forced. I learned that when I was a child. I had multiple siblings, right? My mom, and I hope طبعا she listens to what I say right now, will look at them all and said that the only person I never asked to study is Abuna Krolos. If Abuna Krolos has an exam the following day and wants to go for a walk, he can go for a walk. He can hang out with his friends. He can watch a movie if he wants to. I never ask him to study. And my brothers and siblings will say, why? And she would say, because he knows his limit, he knows his needs, he knows that if he wants to study, he will study. So he doesn't need me to say it. When my mom did that with me, I did the same with my own children. My son could be sitting playing a game, it's okay. He could be going watching a movie with his friends, it's fine. But he knows when to study, so he knows how to align his time. So basically what I'm saying is, you build it up early on, but you also reflect it from your own experience with your parents. Number two, safety. Safety. They need to feel safe coming, even by a mistake. My son, if he does something wrong, can call me and say, Baba, I did this. I need your help. Okay, let us sit together. Let us see what's wrong. Imagine that my child comes one day and say, oh, I did this, and all he gets from me is punching, yelling, and will he ever come back to me again? He will be afraid. I think I made it clear in one of the sermons the past couple of weeks I said that parenting and counseling and guiding and spiritual confession and all of that doesn't mean justify the wrong, but it means creating a safe space. So communication, creating a safe space, planting the seed of discernment, planting the seed of trust and safety, I think can help a child build their own muscles and feel in this community surrounded by so many stakeholders, feel always secure to go to parents with the little influence we have. I think obviously we can have actually a different talk about this. This is very important, but that's the core of love and fear. Any other comment on this one? How can we raise lovers, not followers? The goal is always not to raise just obedient children, but the goal is to raise loving, Christ-centered person. And obviously, everything that we said today will point to this, but it will never happen without me feeling that I am loved by God. Because whether we like it or not, two things that surface in our dealing with our children: how we felt about our own parents and how we felt about God. And if we felt loved by God, if we felt loved by parents, whether we like it or not, but the children will feel that they are loved by us. So maybe we'll take a step backward and ask each one, how do you feel about God? And that's not like a rhetorical question, or it is a real question. I need to ask myself that. As a priest, if I don't feel that I am loved by God, my congregation will always hear from me that God is so vindictive. He is so, as if God is sadist, loves to see us tortured. But if they feel that I love God, the words I speak about God will also be encouraging, loving, presenting the God I tasted. Because as we always say, that the well will always produce what is inside. If inside me is a sense of security towards God, I will produce security to the congregation. The same happens with the parent. If parents feel loved, secured by God, they will always teach and raise loving, secured children. A question maybe, do we want children who obey us or children who trust us? And I think the answer is so obvious. Trust. And when they trust, they will obey. But obedience here will be their decision based on love without expectation. Without, go ahead. Yes.
If a new couples getting to get married together,
Yeah.
when they gonna discuss raising children,
Yes.
that's suitable before marriage or
100%.
to be after?
No, I think, and that's a beautiful question. If couples are not married yet, they are in the dating phase, I think talking about children, raising children, the idea of having children need to be done as early on, like maybe when they start to talk about serious topics around the 6-month mark كده. No, they need to talk and dedicate a time or maybe more than one time about children and about the role that children play in the family, about the dynamics, and also about the influence that the children will have, whether from us as parents or from our parents as grandparents, because this kind of dynamics need to be in place and agreed upon. Yani, obviously there is a huge problem that only surface when children are born, and that's the impact and the influence of outsiders on the children. Do we completely forbid anybody to touch the child? Or do we allow my child to be touched and carried and raised by parents? Or what kind of dynamics do we have? We need to discuss that for sure.
It's having children or not
That's important.
before marriage is very important.
Yes.
Because some people will get into marriage. No, I don't want to have a child.
100%.
Why didn't we discuss this before? Why didn't I know about it before?
And if I want to have children, how many are we expecting? Usually people talk about this. And if there is no talk about this, people could be in conflict.
After marriage.
And again, Bardo, forgive me, that's another very important point. Sometimes people get married and they get children, and their intimacy is completely off because khalas, we already have children. Why do we need intimacy? And that's a problem. People need to understand the impact of having a child in the family. What impact will it do? What changes will it cause? All of this. And that's a beautiful question. Just knowing beforehand is important to avoid conflict and problems and all of that. Any other comment, like a final comment? Go ahead.
I just go back to in the beginning of the talk, we said, who is a child in the house? And we said, she is the daughter of the Lord.
Yes.
That gave her to us.
A gift, yeah.
A gift. When should I be comfortable to say, dear Lord, I've done what I can do. I don't see things going the way I like, but I'm going to trust you. I'm going to go to bed and sleep. And I'm going to leave your kid in your hands.
Yeah.
When we talk about irfa al-hagar, do your part. Sometimes as parents, we continue on whipping ourselves. Oh, we need to do more. We need to do more. And they have their father up there who is mighty and capable. And they just need to hand him over and sometimes say, Lord, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave these kids in your safe hands. I've done what I can do. It's getting too much for me. I don't know how to guide them anymore. I want to leave them in your hands.
That's a very good question.
Where is the line where I say, I've done enough?
Okay. I love your question. I want to answer you in like point format. Number one, we need to do that every single day. Every single day before I go to bed, I tell God, I did my part with my wife, with my kids, well. And now they are in your hands, honestly. Because sometimes I could be suffering from insomnia, thinking about my kids, my family, my whatever. And every single day I need to do that like I'm giving account of the day. Number two, my responsibility, God is giving me the child as a gift. While the child is developing, my role is also developing. Yeah, I remember one time I was drawing that as a square, and the square has one line in the center between the two opposite corners. If the square is 10 centimeter, the top of this one is 10 centimeter, the bottom is 0, and I put the line to connect between 10 and 0, because my role will always evolve around the child, but my responsibility is dynamic, and I will take off my hand slowly from 10, 100% to 0, nothing, throughout developing the child. Meaning what? Meaning if the child is born, they need me 100%. While I develop them and empower them, that 100% becomes 90, where I delegate and empower, let them make decision, take responsibility of their lives. I keep migrating until the day either they become mature, they don't need my help anymore. I'll be there to guide as a counsel or as a father but they have full autonomy. Or the day I deliver them, we do that in the church in a very lovely rituals. during مثلا matrimony or whatever, when the father gets the child or the daughter in that case and present her to her husband and say, I've done my part. Up until this, the role will go from 100% to zero. At certain point, if my child doesn't want to get married, it's okay. When they get mature, educated, working, خلاص, that's it. They have their full responsibility. They will come back to me, but on a consultation base, not as, because if the child is like 25 and 30 and they still depend on me, maybe I didn't empower them enough. No, they need to learn how to be independent. But yes, actually, it's a moment where I feel like I've done my part. Khalas, I gave you enough. I did this enough. I did. Now you are mature. But it doesn't happen suddenly. It just takes a gradual progression from top, meaning 100%, to bottom means zero.
And it doesn't mean that I did my part. If you need me, I will not.
La, consultation.
If you need me, I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the feeling of responsibility reduces. Yes.
My question is the shift of my responsibility from my limited power
To God.
to the Lord.
That happens every single day.
They are your kids. I've done my little
Yes.
part that you allowed me, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to lose my sleep because you.
That's
are the one.
every single day.
Yeah.
Actually, that sense they were like, for example, when I was pregnant, my kids, like God, I'm gonna do my part,
Yes.
eat healthy, do everything I can do, but I want you gonna do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. That's why we pray for our kids and pray for everybody. And honestly speaking, yes, I want to also make like a mind shift now. There is a difference between God giving me a gift, my children, to look after, and this to become a fellowship journey between me and God in raising my child. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like God is خلاص يعني he has a naughty child. Okay, I'll take that child. I'm just gonna. God wants to get rid of that. يعني no. It's a fellowship journey. Every single day, every single decision, every single encounter. Me and God together, trying to raise my children. Me and God together, looking after the needs of my children. It's a fellowship.
Very comforting to hear me and God, because that makes me feel like I'm not the head. I have my Savior.
Yes.
He will save me if I go wrong. So this is great.
And when I say me and God, obviously God comes first. But when I say me and God, it's not like to pass the responsibility and just withdraw. No, I know that I have a role and I have a responsibility, but I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Yes.
That's kind.
Any final comment or question? I hope ان هو التوك كان شوية focused بس I wanna hear لو في comment or question.
I'll take home me and God. I love this one. Me and
It's
God.
beautiful, isn't it?
I truly like the feeling.
Yeah.
Me and God are doing this. Thank you. If my limit, I know my limits, and God will.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can take it with the children, you can take it at work, you can take it everywhere.
Yes.
That's why we say to God يعني ايه اشترك في العمل مع عبيدك. يعني ايه be a companionship in work with your servants. It's a fellowship. And obviously, again, that's not like a cliche or anything. Every aspect of life, if we don't have God as a fellow supporter, contributor, it will become very headache, very hectic, very draining.
Comes anxiety,
Yes.
depression, fear,
Yes.
OCD, and all this.